Good morning. We're on day 357 of our 365-day trip through the Bible. We are looking at St. John's Gospel at the moment, and we're looking at the 7 signs in that Gospel. And we've come now to the final sign, the 7th sign, the death and resurrection of Jesus. Just after Jesus entered Jerusalem in triumph, he prayed to his Father. And this is John chapter 12, verses 27 to 33, Jesus' prayer to the Father and his explanation of what is about to happen in Jerusalem. Just after his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, Jesus was praying to his heavenly Father. Right now, I am really in a turmoil deep inside. I can hardly express what I feel. Am I going to ask you, Father, rescue me from what's about to happen? No. What's about to happen is the very reason I'm here. Father, glorify your name. Then a voice came out of heaven. I have glorified it, and I will glorify it again. The crowd, standing around, heard it, and said it was thunder. But others said that an angel had spoken to him. Jesus answered them, "This voice has spoken for you, not for me. Now is the judgment of the world. Now the ruler of this world is to be thrown out. And when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all to myself." He said this to demonstrate what kind of death he was to die. As I said in my introduction, in the verses before today's reading, in John 12 to 19, we read about Jesus' Palm Sunday entrance into Jerusalem, welcomed by the crowds, much to the dismay of the Pharisees. Today's reading includes some of the words Jesus spoke within the hearing of the crowds, and reflect some of his uneasiness. Although he had been welcomed, he knew his enemies were keeping a close eye on him. He speaks to the people about how the Son of Man will be glorified, and talks about resurrection using the imagery of seeds having been planted in the earth before they rise again. And then he says these words that I've just read. He is now speaking not to the crowd, but to the Father. And in doing so, he teaches us how to pray. He shows us how to be completely honest about our feelings in front of God. And these sentiments are familiar to us from the scene in the Garden of Gethsemane in Mark's Gospel. Then Jesus continues to speak to the crowd. He reveals to us that the moment of his death will be Judgment Day. The word John uses is the old Greek word krisis. The death of Christ will be the crisis moment for human history. In that moment, the power of evil is to be broken. The judgment is not one imposed by God on humans, but one that humans impose on themselves. By rejecting Jesus, people condemn themselves. But when Jesus gives himself up into the hands of sinners, that very act becomes the means by which people can be saved. Judgment is not now God's last word. Jesus' death is not to be the last thing that he achieved. His last word is, of course, his love, and his last deed has not yet been done. If you want to meditate on John's account of Christ's trial and execution, you will find that in John chapters 18 and 19. But tomorrow we're going to arrive at the great Sunday morning, back to work day after the Passover holiday for most people. And there was work to be done. I'll see you tomorrow.